Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got another Card 5 Vanguard video for you guys. I had a lot of fun doing the last one, so I thought I'd do this one just in time for regionals. So by the time you guys are watching this, regionals is tomorrow. At this point, I'm probably already in New York, already practicing, getting ready for it. And I thought I would bring you guys my deck profile. Well, not really a deck profile because you guys have seen this deck on the channel already, but I've tweaked a little bit, so I just want to talk about the tweaks. So I'm gonna go through some of the cards because while Bavsagra in some circles is a fan favorite deck, you know, she's a waifu, she's got a great character in the anime, and some pretty hype moments. She's also never been meta relevant, so some people still don't know what it is. So we're gonna talk about some of the cards, and we're gonna talk about some of the techs I'm throwing in personally, and why I decided to go with these cards. So let's check it out. Alright, first off, we got our ride line. This ride line's bonkers. This ride line's so good that people play it in like Ganiva because it essentially makes all your rides free. I think you have to pay for the first one. That's it. So obviously, grade 0 draws a card. Grade 1, when you ride the grade 0 over the grades, specifically this grade 0, so it has to be ran like this. You Soul Blast 1, then you search either the sword or the shield, which is just nuts. Grade 2 says you can, when you ride it, add a arms card from your drop to your hand from the drop. So you discard the shield that you just add or the sword that you just added, and then you just add it right back. So you have it for a grade 3 turn if you need to discard it or if you need to arm. Trigger lineup is going a little weird. So I was playing 4 front 7 crit. A buddy of mine made a good point where because of Bavsagra's power and the extra criticals, sometimes it's just better to run more crits to try and end the game, especially since Bavsagra technically has a weaker offense. While she can hit serious numbers, she only gets 3 attacks. So I basically need to punish my opponent for either not guarding or over guarding, and giving crits to the rear guards is definitely more deadly than giving fronts. Fronts are great, don't get me wrong, especially with the extra defense. I love the extra defense, that's why I was running for, but I need to close out games. That's why we're running 8 crit here. The reason we have 1 crit that's different was for testing purposes. I'm probably gonna just end up running 4 of this one because I have this one in SP. But the reason we ran the different art one was basically for testing. We wanted to see how much of a difference it would make whether it was the front or the crit as far as defense and as far as closing out games. And as far as defense goes, it really didn't matter. As far as closing out games, I haven't actually checked it yet, but as long as I can defend these even with it, it's nice to have the extra pushes there. Obviously, for Trick Moon, 3 PG, 1 Elementary, Samhadi. I still personally believe this is the most important card in the deck. It's one of your 4-card combo, but this allows you to play the game in almost any situation. So during your turn, if you have 2 arms, it gains 5k. So it's a 13k booster or 13k attacker. So act, if there's an arms card already on your Vanguard, you can retire this unit, choose an arm card from your hand, or drop and arm it to your Vanguard. But if you armed a card, you cannot arm your Vanguard until the end of turn. Basically, they make it so you can't spam out a bunch of these, but you retire it, you can arm from your hand or drop. The reason that's good is because it circumvents the cost. You pay for free. And in most cases, you can just use Bavsagra to soul charge, call it right back out, so you get to rearm for free, which builds up your soul and gives you a different effect that you need. Like you could arm another spear and draw another card. Here's one of the check choices I'm going with, which is Seal Break Dragon. If your Vanguard has an arms card on it, you put this unit into your soul. That's the cost. Choose a Sealed Blaze Sword Prithvi or a Sealed Blaze Gun Chandra from your Vanguard, and until the end of turn, the cost of that original auto ability of that card is reduced by 1 counterblast. Now, this is a little gimmicky because we were already playing the sword, but we weren't playing the gun. The gun is another one of the techs. The thing about the sword and the gun is they're hyper overcosted for what they do. The sword is after battles a counterblast 2, destroy it, deal a damage. The gun is a counterblast 2. Sorry, I missed a cost because you have to soul blast 1 for each of them just to be able to arm them. Then you have to counterblast 2 to use the effect. The gun is a counterblast 2 when your Vanguard swings to give it a triple drive. It's fine. But neither one of those effects are worth a Soul Blast and 2 Counter Blasts, especially with a deck that burns through Soul. And while we do have, our constant counter charge with Trick Moon, we do run out of Counter Blast pretty fast. So this thing reduces the cost by 1, making them actually usable. I missed the point. The problem with the gun and the sword is that they destroy themselves, which reduces all of our attack power. Like, Trick Moon's Dress Boost is 10k per arm. So if you have multiple copies of Trick Moon and you use either the sword or the shield, its boost power is getting reduced because you're losing that arm. Same thing with Samhati, same thing with Shabda. Granted, I've had games where I've won because of the sword and that extra damage. They had to take a damage regardless, so it just ended the game. And my thoughts on Chandra we'll get to when we're done talking about the rest of the deck. This card makes them a little more usable, but the big thing that sold me on this card, and the reason I said I'm going to run it, was because its cost. If you have an arm on your Vanguard, any arm, you could just move it to Soul. So at a minimum, this is a card that you can just put into your Soul that you can always call back with Bavsagra. And in the late game, you can always call this with Bavsagra to be able to use the gun to push for game. We're only running 2 Aoshina. I personally don't like this card that much. I never really did. It was, especially with how much it was, because it only came out in the 1 subset. But it's okay. When this unit is placed on rearguard, perform all the following according to the arms you have on your Vanguard. If you have a right deity arm, which is this the spear or the sword, it gains 10k. If you have a left deity arm, which is the shield, you counter blast 1, call grade 1 or lower from the drop. That's all it does. It's good for 1 turn. It does get you another dude back from the drop, which I've done some pretty cool combos off of that. Like if I wanted to call something different with Bavsagra and then call something off him, it works. And he's an okay beater for 1 turn, but the fact that he only works for 1 turn, it just is kind of annoying. Shabda. During your turn, if your Vanguard has 2 or more arms, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, and then while it's in the drop, when your unit is called from the drop zone, which obviously Bavsagra does that, you can counter blast 1 and call it. You have to have a Bavsagra Vanguard. I love this card, especially since we're in a retire heavy format. Being able to intercept with it, being able to call it early for offense, being able to call it back is just a good card. Kangshadi, the other heart and soul of the deck. This one and Samhati together give you such a powerful draw engine. But what Kangshadi does and why it's so good, when placed on rearguard from your hand, if you have a Vanguard with Bavsagra in its card name, Soul Blast 1, discard card from your hand, search your deck or drop for up to 1 arms card, reveal it and put it into your hand. And if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. I didn't even realize that it was also drop zone. That is crazy to me. I have never used its effect from the drop zone because I didn't know that was a thing. Act. Once per turn, counter blast 1, put an arms card from your Vanguard into the Soul, draw a card, and this unit gets 5,000 power. So I'm going to jump to the spear real quick because I'm going to tell you guys the 4-card combo that you can do every turn. So this is a right deity arm. You play this with a counter blast 1 when this unit is armed. When this card is armed, draw a card, and you may play 1 additional arms card this turn. During your turn, when the unit armed with this card gets 10,000 power. So you want to open either a spear or Kangshadi because that's going to guarantee that you'll have 2 arms by grade 3 because you're going to search the shield. If you open up the shield, you can search the sword, but you still want to see the spear because it's the only one that says you can arm twice. Otherwise, with this build, you need Samhati to be able to arm a 2nd arm because this one actually has a built-in effect to let you arm. But great, you can ride grade 3, call Kangshadi, Soul Blast, search the spear, equip the spear, equip the shield, you're good. But if you have Kangshadi and Samhati on the board, this is what you can do. It requires 2 spears, either in your hand or in the drop, it does not matter. If you have one on your Vanguard, you can counter blast 1 with Kangshadi, move the spear into the Soul, draw a card, plus 5k. You retire Samhati, arm a spear from your hand or drop, draw another card. Bavsagra skill, Soul Charge 1, call the Samhati back out. So basically, for the cost of a 1 counter blast, you gained 2 cards in Soul, and you got to draw 2 cards and gave a 5,000 point power boost to Conk Shoddy. And you can do it every turn as long as you have 1 counterblast. It's nuts. It gives the deck a shitload of defense. I've had games where I've been able to keep up with Gear Chronicle. I've been able to keep up with Messiah. Like, just being able to draw that many cards a turn, because you think about it, you have your draw for turn, your +2 off of this, plus your Twin Drive. At a minimum, that's 5 cards every turn. Like, you could blow out your entire hand and just draw a fresh hand. It's really, really strong. And then, obviously, it gives you Soul, so you can keep on using Bavsagra's skill. And I mean, you Soul Blast the arm, now you have the arm in the drop to set up for next turn. And it's really easy to recover if somebody manages to break this combo, but some people don't realize how important these cards are. And a lot of times they'll go after Trick Moon because Trick Moon is the threat with the huge boost. But it's like, cool, you take out my Trick Moon, I'm just going to keep my defense. Alright, then for arms, we got the sword. Soul Blast 1 to arm, gives 10k during your turn, and after the battle, I said Counterblast 2, put it into the drop, and deal a damage to your opponent's Vanguard if they're at 4 or lower. Shield, favorite card in the deck. You arm it with a Counterblast 1, and once per turn, when the arm unit with this card is attacked, your arm unit gets 10,000 power. Basically, you can give yourself a 10,000 shield. Because we have to run so many grade 3s, they gave us a defensive mechanic, and honestly, when I saw this card in the anime for the first time, this was the card that made me want to play the deck, because I love defensive options in Vanguard, and this one is one of the best ones in the game. We went over the spear, but I want to talk about the gun. So, I never ran the gun. Never. I thought the gun was awful, it's overcosted. The reason I've decided to run it is because my biggest problem with the deck is, while it has a fantastic defense, thanks to the shield and the Conk Shoddy combo, its offense is severely lacking, especially when you will need to close out a game. I mean, if your opponent sees perfect guards, they just shut Bavsagra down. Granted, if your opponent starts guarding with shields, then you're in the money. But Chandra is, I don't want to say good, but it's an okay finisher, at least for what we have right now. Because remember, this is pre-set 12. When set 12 comes out, we actually gain a bunch of cards to increase our offense. But until then, this is a nice surprise to have, because nobody's going to expect the gun. And I've already had games where my opponent's guarded 1 or 2 to pass, and I've won because of the triple drive from Chandra. Even without the grade 1 to reduce the cost. Like, I just said, fuck it, went balls to the wall, counterblasted 2, and won games off of that. So, we're going to go jump into a game real quick and show you guys the full deck for anybody that hasn't seen how this deck works and why it's so fun. But, hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Let's jump in. Alright. Alright, this guy's getting down to business. Yo, we cannot get first. What is this anyway? Oh, okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna try and go more aggressive. We'll dump these. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we in the money. This is a real good hand. We have our discard fodder, we have our offense, we have our draw engine for turn 3. Yeah, this is gonna be a good game. Unless he plays something that absolutely blows us out, which he's playing. I don't even know. All set up. The Lyrical Monastery decks, I have no idea what any of them do. I kind of figure them out as I go along. If you have Vanguard with Michu in its card name, rest this card. Choose 1 Cannonball card from your hand and put it into your order zone. Alright, so he's going to swing big. Got it. Alright, we're going ride. Skill. Alright, I've been trying to get this recording done for a little bit, so I'm a little frustrated because it's been a pain in the ass. People leaving, the game not working. At one point I did a whole game and realized I didn't record. In this case, for anybody that doesn't know, these effects happen at the same time when I ride. When 2 effects are triggered by the same thing, you can pick the order they go off in regardless of where they end up. Like, even though we soul blasted it for the cost of search, we still get the draw. Alright, we're going to call the grade 1, do some damage. Try to rack up some damage early. Never mind, because they're hitting over trigger. Well, so much for that. That sucks. That would have been 3 damage first turn. I hate over triggers, man. Still think that's the worst addition to the game. Worst addition to the game. Alright, we have a decent set of grade 2s for our next turn. Do we want to attempt to guard this? He's already revealed two triggers. You know what? I'll chance it. Good chance. Which means he probably has 1 or 2 triggers already in his hand. Alright, we're going to dump the shield to ride Bavsagra. Bavsagra's skill is going to add us back the shield. Alright, we're going to slide back some Hadi. We want you safe. We're going to call Shabda because we don't care if you die. And then we're going to go 10k to Vanguard. Critical trigger. Sweet. You know what? We'll put the crit on the rear guard. We want to force him to guard. So now you gotta pick 2 damage. Alright, that's a card, another card out of hand. Knowing my luck, he would have hit another damage trigger and I wouldn't have been able to hit with the Shabda, so I was just like, let me put it on the Shabda, so now he has to choose to drop another card out of hand or take 2 damage. If your order zone has all set up, draw a card, choose a card from your hand, call it to rear guard. And because he has no counterblast, he can't really do anything. When this unit attacks, Soul Blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets 5,000 power to end the battle. Which one is you gonna retire? A smart person would retire some Hadi. Is he not retiring my rear guard? Alright. I mean, if he's not gonna retire, he's not gonna retire. Alright, got a draw trigger. Ain't too bad. This unit attacks, choose up to 1 cannonball card from your drop, put into your order zone. So it's all these cannonballs. Oh, the on-hit skill. Oh, well, we healed 1. I feel like this game's gonna be long as shit. Alright, so he's doing a lot of drawing. So, we're gonna have to out-tempo them. We're gonna have to play extremely defensive. And basically, we're gonna have to save up on damage. Save up on cards in deck. So, what do we got here? Alright, we got a solid set of cards in the drop. So what we're gonna do is we're going to discard a Conch Shadi to ride. Then we're going to call another Conch Shadi. Skill. Soul Blast 1. Discard a card. We discard Oshino because we can't use it right now. No. We're not discarding Oshino. Other turn. We'll discard the other spear. The only time, normally I would discard spear for spear. The only time I wouldn't is if I was planning on using multiple spears in a turn. Because you can. They say you can arm an additional time. So each spear gives you an additional arm. So now we're going to counterblast 1. Arm spear. Spear effect we're going to draw. Bavsagra's effect we're going to soul charge. And call grade 1 of lore from the drop. So we're going to call Trick Moon because we need the counterblast. Countercharge goes to Trick Moon. And then we're going to counterblast to arm shield. We're going to use Bavsagra's skill. Soul Blast 2. She gets crit. Retires that front row. And then we're going to give powers out. Real quick. 20k, my bad. The only thing that sucks is that our Conch Shadi can't hit himself. Do we want to call this? You know what? Let's just make it so all our attacks can hit. Alright, so now we're going to go with this first. Of course, you got the PG. You drew a million cards, I'm not surprised. critical trigger. Give all effects over here. It's bigger, and we want you to drop more guard. Then we got a sword. Go with the small one first. And then we're gonna go with 38 for 2. Alright, so now I gotta be careful because now we're about the same amount of cards in deck. I've got a lead on by 2 cards. 3 cards now. Thankfully our damage is low, so we can take some hits. We still have our shield for guard. We have 2 intercepts. If we can make it through this turn, we'll be able to sustain real hard, because that's how the deck works. Our weakest turn is turn 3, but we already have our entire combo set up. We have another spear in the drop. We have Kankshai. We have some Hadi. We just need to make it through this turn with minimal damage. All right. 23. Soul blasting 2. So why did it gain 10k? That's fine, I guess. We'll just no guard to Vanguard. Shit. Alright, so 2 damage. Over trigger! Alright, I am okay with this. You know what? I wanted my whole combo, but I'm fine with it. That's fine, do your thing, keep drawing cards. Alright. Unfortunately, we can't use Bavsagra. Oh, yeah, we have Persona Ride, thank God. Bavsagra has always run into a soul issue, which is why Kankshai is so good in the deck. But this time we didn't need it. So, I wish we had another Kankshai so we can access the gun, but it's all good in the hood. Instead, we're going to use this thing's skill. We're going to arm a spear from the drop. Spear is going to draw us a card. Bavsagra is going to soul charge. 2. Call it back out. I'm going to then... Now, normally I would just call Shabda. But we want to make sure we have a full offense. So, we're going to call Oshina. Oshina's skill. It's going to gain 10k because we have 1 arm. And then it's going to call another grade 1 or lower over here. And then we're going to use Bavsagra's Soul Blast skill. Retiring the front row. Getting crit. And then she gains 10k. My Samhadis gain 5k apiece. And my back row gives me 20k. Alright. So we're looking good. Now we're going to go battle phase. 58 for 2. They had the other PG. I mean, they were able to search it. Obvious. Critical. All effects here. Alright. Then we're going to go 36 for 1. Alright. And then we're going to go 48 for 2, which they're going to take. Yep, that's fine. As you can see, we have a massive card advantage on them. Even without Kankshai, we still were able to draw a significant amount of cards. We've been playing really, really defensive. We haven't been overcommitting. And honestly, that 1 over trigger helped us out a lot. Their early over trigger kind of pissed me off because, you know, we were trying to rack up damage. But now that we've settled on decking them out, our over trigger was perfect timed. We have a +5 on cards in deck on them, and they keep on drawing cards. Alright, so they... Oh, I see what they're doing. They're building up these cards because they're going to do one big-ass attack. I see. And they're just still drawing a shitload of cards. Filling up the soul. Yep, they're getting ready to go off on us. Oh, can you not use them together? No, you can't. You can only use one at a time because it changes the cannonball ability. It doesn't add it. Alright. Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast 2. Oh, it's an active effect, so they already did it. Alright, that's fine. No guard. Draw trigger. Keep on drawing cards, my guy. Critical trigger. Alright, so we take 2 damage. 1 and 2. Power to the Vanguard. Oh, you were able to re-ride from the back row. That's cute. Alright, you already used your over trigger. Thinking. Let's see how many triggers you've already been through. Because you've been through a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 2 in hand, so 11. So you gotta actually have a lot of triggers left. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna go 38, 1 to pass, and then we'll go shield for 2 to pass. Whoa, 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 not that. We'll go 2 and hope that you don't double trigger us. Oh yeah, he only had 1 check. I was worried about nothing. 40k. We'll go 38, 43. Do I want to take this and have to guard everything next turn? Yeah, we'll take it. Because we'd have to drop 3 cards to guard it anyway. Alright. Drop a turn. I really wish I could hit your back row, but it is what it is. So. Alright. This is when this card becomes good. So we're going to move it to soul. We're going to activate you. Armor another spear. Spear effect to draw. We would get the gun now. And we have enough counterblast to use it too, but we can't rearm because we armed with Samhadi. That kind of blows. Bavsagra skill to soul charge. And now we're going to we're gonna do that. We're going to call Trick Moon over Trick Moon. We're going to counter charge. Then we're going to counter blast to call Shabda. Then we're going to call our other Alshina, which is going to gain 10k and call another grade 1 from the drop. So we will call I don't see us killing him this turn. You know, just in case we drive check something crazy. So this gains 10k. Oh, whoops. She gains 10k off the spear. He gains 5k. 20k over here. 20k over here. 5k over here. Now we're gonna hit Bavsagra's skill. Soul Blast 2. She's gonna gain a crit and retire the front row. And then battle phase 48 for dose. No trigger. Heal trigger. This is 33. We'll do it over here. And unfortunately, we already hit a PG, so we'll just heal that. Damn. All right. 43 to you. 20k guard. Oh, that's game. Yeah. I was expecting to have to deck them out. with only 4 cards left in deck, they couldn't even swing. They could swing with their Vanguard on next turn, but once they passed turn, if they didn't kill us, we won. I was so butthurt that I couldn't play the gun because we finally saw the gun and didn't get to use it. But we had saved enough counterblast to be able to use it as our finisher. And since we soul blasted the grade 1, we could have, once we armed it to the Vanguard, we could have called the grade 1 back out to reduce the cost. So we had it all set up to go absolutely in for game next turn, even if our opponent didn't deck out. So, yeah. Alright guys, here's one more look at the deck I'm taking with me. I'm glad you guys got to see some of what I was able to do with it. I'm actually really liking Seal Break Dragon. The fact that it can move itself to soul, even if you don't have the sword or the gun to use the effect on. Just getting that 1 extra soul was enough to help keep my offense going. And I did have the setup for my gun turn to be the finisher. So all in all, the deck did what I wanted to do. You guys got to see that through skillful play, the deck can actually, you know, plus really hard as well as be really, really defensive while maintaining a steady offense. The new support coming in set 12 gives us a big boost to our offense, so I'm a big fan of that because I thought the deck needed more offense. But let me know what you guys thought of the video down in the comments. Let me know any other techs you guys might know that I should try out. I do have all day to test before regionals, so I'm trying to iron out the kinks. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. Thanks for all your support, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.